Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Empowered to Grow. This is your host, Hanan Basha. Today, I have an amazing lady who we crossed paths just because the universe wanted us to do so. Jacquelyn Phillips is not only an entrepreneur with two businesses, one in events, it's an events venue, and another in photography. She's also an author now with a new book, Comfortably Uncomfortable, coming up. Jacquelyn, welcome to Empowered to Grow.
Thank you for the opportunity to grow with your audience.
I love that. Well, thank you for growing with us and allowing us to grow alongside. So I'll ask you that because that's how I start. When I said to you, I'm like, okay, the podcast is Empowered to Grow. What does that mean to you? How does this resonate with you, being empowered to grow?
So, life is a journey. And if you are actively living in it, you're growing, whether you're growing up or out or inward, that's entirely up to you. Growth can be the wrong direction. And honestly, for a really long time, I was growing the wrong direction. You like the beautiful plant behind me, if I didn't care for it, it would start to wilt and brown. It would still grow, but it wouldn't grow healthy. I was not growing healthy for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I had sort of reached a breaking point in my life and had this crisis moment where I said, okay, well, I either need to not be here or I need to learn how to grow properly so that I can function in society and be happy and be a good mom and be a good business owner. And the book was just kind of a bonus from it.
I love that. I love that. So, being empowered to grow. Share with us a bit about your story. Let's delve deeper.
Absolutely. So I had sort of reached a period in my life where my marriage was crumbling. I had spent my entire life savings to buy the event venue. It was a meager savings, but it was still all that I had. My health was failing, and I had just this overwhelming, surmountable feeling of demise because I couldn't see outside of what was in front of me. I had my blinders on, and I wasn't open to the fact that I was living life in a scorched earth sort of approach.
Yeah.
I have PTSD, and I just always assumed that everything was a threat. And if I could neutralize the threat before it reached me, then I was safe. But in turn, I was scorching the earth around me and hurting those that were still trying to reach out and help me. But because I couldn't see the difference between those things, everyone was a threat and every action was an offense against me.
Yes.
And when you live in combat mode for so long, you don't want to reach out, you don't want to expand yourself, you want to retreat inward. And it's not a healthy place to be.
No.
And it's not a safe place to be. And I explained it to someone the other day. I said, it's like when you're going to rehab. You can't force someone to go to rehab and expect it to work.
Yes.
If you're not ready, you're not going to take the necessary steps and get the benefit that you're looking from. And up until, that crisis moment, I didn't want to hear what anybody had to say because I thought I was doing just fine.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was hurting everyone and everything, including myself.
Yeah. So what for you was the moment when you said, that's it? You saw the light and it's like, this is it. This is where I need to pivot or I need to shift or something's got to give here.
I was planning to commit suicide.
Okay.
I used to work in healthcare, and unfortunately, that's a wonderful skill set to know how to be effective in that demise. And basically, I had reached the moment where either I was going to do that or I had to start making changes. And that crisis moment came, and because I couldn't dictate the narrative and I didn't want to add trauma to my child, that was what kept me from what I wanted to do.
And the book for you was therapeutic in that sense?
The book was a companion as I was going through all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
The chapter on suicide alone, I was in a hotel room in Florida, and I had been, you know, 3 years out from that date, and that date resonates with me, and I poured everything out, and that's a lot of how the chapters in the book happened. I was at a point where I was comfortable talking about how uncomfortable I was and what I did to get through those moments, and it's just sort of this journal of where I was and who I was and what I did and where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So the book was not intentional. It was the universe saying, you did all this work and you're
Mm-hmm.
really lucky you made it out on the other side. What are
Yeah.
you going to do to better the world because of it? And I had this idea, like, I can write this book. And my son is the reason why it exists, because he believes in me. He goes, of course you can write a book. You can do anything. And so
I love
I
that.
just started writing and writing and writing, because he would always ask. And I wanted to prove to him that, you can accomplish things if you really set out for them. And
Mm-hmm.
he's exceptional. He actually is the one that took the cover photo, because I needed it to be as genuine as possible. And with him, I am my most genuine.
I love that. And I resonate a lot with what you just said about being comfortably uncomfortable to share your story and to share everything that you've been through and how you've sometimes even crawled yourself out of it. Because I realized that my vulnerability is one of my superpowers. And the more I kind of spoke about it, the more I'm raw and authentic, the more people can connect and the more people can raise their hand and say, me too, and understand that you're not alone. And I think that is the gift of vulnerability, of our personal or individual vulnerability, that others could resonate with that and know that they're not alone.
Do you find that when you have the opportunity to be vulnerable, that you, in fact, better yourself as you become more vulnerable? Because
Definitely.
I've noticed that I feel more inspired and more empowered every time I do this, knowing that I'm helping somebody. It feeds back into me. It's this wonderful cycle of recycled energy.
Yes, that's true. Definitely. Definitely. So, from where you stand now, what advice would you have imparted on your 19-year-old self?
It'll get better. Just wait. It's coming. Your moment, your swan moment is coming. Be patient, be kind to yourself, be nice to everyone, including yourself. I was not very nice to myself. I didn't appreciate who I was, and I didn't love myself. I just sort of loathed the fact that I existed. Every day was a chore to get through, and most days I didn't want to be a part of it. Um, I would tell myself to just be patient, and it will happen, but you have to work hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. And being nice to ourselves, I think, is something we tend to forget because possibly we're not conditioned that way. We're not conditioned to be nice to ourselves. We're conditioned to be outward, but inward is a flip in itself. It's understanding that you have something has to happen to be able to stand and say, okay, what about me? I need to take care of me. And I think that is a pivotal growth moment for a lot of us.
I also think it really gets shadowed by, job roles and house roles. And,
Yes, that's true.
well, I'm mom, so I don't factor in the equation.
Yeah.
But you have to, because if you don't, you start to resent your home and your work and your life. And that resentment is just a poison, and it starts to take over. And it's really hard to undo the damage that it creates.
That's true. That's true. That's exactly it. Okay, from a time capsule perspective, then, we're on the other end of the spectrum now. What would you like your 90-year-old self to thank you for today?
For investing in myself. Because that is what this has been. This whole thing has just, if we're going to look at it from a business perspective, I'm investing in myself now so that I can endure and last and be happy and enjoy my existence. I would love to see 90. That's a beautiful age to reach.
Yep.
My great grandmother made it to 93, so
Oh,
I
bless.
aspire to her. But yeah, I want to be thankful that I invested in myself, because we only get one shot at this.
True.
And if you can put the pin in the timeline where you stop and go, this isn't who I want to be anymore. That's That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally agree. So you're on a stage, you will be soon with the book and talking about the concept of being comfortably uncomfortable.
That
And
sounds amazing.
yes. And you're talking to tens of thousands of women, and the topic is about being empowered to grow one way or another. What would be that last statement you leave them with?
This is temporary. Whatever your struggle is, whatever is weighing heavily on your heart, whatever is holding you back, they're all temporary. Each day is 24 hours. If you can make it through that 24 hours, you get a brand new chance to do it smarter, better, faster, stronger. Because if you take the time to be self-aware and learn from where you're at, you can only grow, and you'll grow in the right direction.
This is temporary. That's true. And I think going through it, that is another thing we tend to forget, because every second and every minute just takes forever. And again, it's the isolation of feeling that we're alone, we're going through this alone, that makes it as well kind of the time a bit unbearable in that sense. But it's a matter of, as you said, it's a matter of perspective.
All of life is perspective. It's how you succeed, it's how you fail, it's how you grow, it's how you learn, it's how you adapt. But here's the great thing is you can control your perception of the reality in front of you. And that was something that I really struggled with because I assumed everything was an attack. I couldn't see things for what they were. And so when I learned to control the perception that I had of things, that's when I was able to see, oh, well, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
This is a person that wants to help me. This is a person that loves me. This is a person that believes in me, not what I had pre-imposed upon people.
Yeah. This has been nice and impactful and kind of to the point. I love that. Thank you so much for
I pack
that.
a punch. I'm little. I pack a punch.
I love that. So am I. So let's do this.
Tiny girls unite.
Where can our viewers and listeners find you in virtual space?
Absolutely. So, the book itself is available for print on Amazon. You can download it to your Kindle. If you enjoy the sound of my voice, I will read it to you on Audible. We have our companion website, growingpains.com. And basically that's going to give you access to all of my providers that I've personally used, helpful worksheets, other podcasts where we've discussed other topics. We also have our companion Instagram and social media where I post everything from, motivational moments to free resources to knowledge, because I think knowledge is power and I want everyone to be empowered.
That's amazing. I'm going to be putting anyway in the show notes all the links to all your channels and how to find you. Jacquelyn, thank you so much. I love this.
Thank you so much. This was an amazing opportunity.
Thank you. Well, you empower yourself to grow. And yes, there are times where you feel you don't have a choice. But if you allow yourself to shift your perspective, to shift the lens, to stop and say, this is not where I want to be, and I know I can get out of this, life could really shift around for you. Thank you for joining us. I wish you love, abundance, and prosperity. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.